So I don't normally do non-spoiler reviews of movies, but I don't know, I'm just in the mood. So here's a non-spoiler review of Spike Lee's 2018 film, which I don't feel like saying the title of. Probably one of the best scripts of the year. All that great ensemble cast. Denzel Washington's son's great. A bit more, I would say better than Denzel Washington. Also, Denzel has that Will Smith-like charisma. Denzel Washington's son, more of a villain. You know, he's like a hero. Which I get into with a lot of controversial statements, analyses of the movie. Adam Driver's great. He's like put in a situation and it feels very vulnerable, and it really adds to Denzel Washington's character. They have a good chemistry. They're well written. I felt like Adam Driver was gonna get praised no matter what, just because he's Kylo Ren, he's part of Star Wars. But like, he did a pretty good job. Action, the vulnerabilities again. Denzel's character's like really dark character in a dark comedy. Most people won't notice it, but like there are some strands of I wouldn't say he's a bad character, but he's definitely not innocent. It's a little bit complicated to say, but like, he's a little bit Machiavellian, but he's human. That's really good. There's this girlfriend of his in the movie, and she's interesting too. She seems to be connected to the Black Panthers or something. Like, it was interesting. She seemed intelligent. She watched a lot of movies at the time. I mean, she's part of a movie in this movie. It's interesting. Some of the cinematography is great. The scene where Denzel Washington's son's character is shot side by side on the phone with a major historical figure. That was very interesting. I'll get into that in a little bit. My really dark analyses of the film. Oh, before I forget, this is a very non-Spike Lee-ish film. It feels like a Quentin Tarantino film. It's very non-conservative. It's not as kid-friendly. I like Malcolm X. I would consider it dark, but like I still see kids possibly watching that movie. I don't see kids watching this film. I see kids watching Do the Right Thing, but not this film. A lot of bad language can be learned. A lot of bad language. It wasn't like they're trying to set a record, like with House of the Dead Overkill, like a Quentin Tarantino film. Like, there was definitely some sort of... It's not really kid-friendly. Probably the only Spike Lee film I've watched that was not kid-friendly. Oh, the Edward Norton film about the 9/11 stuff, that was probably not that either. I probably should watch that. I'm thinking about it. Also, kudos to Union Square Regal. The film didn't do that well. Maybe it did well in New York City, but they put it in a really large theater. The film didn't even break even on the opening weekend yet. It was put in a large theater in Regal. So props to that. That's really cool of them. The script is so good. Like, it has so much to do with race issues, and like it's a real hardcore political science film. It's not like litmus test stuff, like right versus left. It's like real political stuff, which I'll get into with the main character played by Denzel Washington's son. I mean, that's some crazy stuff in this film. And like, sometimes like Spike Lee will say something on like Twitter or something, and like won't be as well thought out, or it'd be like a reaction, but like this was a really well thought out film. Like, makes every race, every gender, everybody look bad, but human. And like, that's what you need in an indie film. This is gonna resonate with me more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm gonna watch this movie a lot more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's a very rewatchable film. It's funny. There's this really funny scene, and I don't want to spoil the plot, but like, it's really funny, and it's really perverted and like terrible, but funny at the same time. You know, like, well, some people are just, when they're big, they're just really dumb and racist. Like, sometimes, like, flabbergast you. It's not as realistic, like, it's dramatic still and comedic, but like, my gosh, that scene was so hilarious. It was just, it didn't put on the head how ridiculous they were, to the point where like, it was not enjoyable, but it was enjoyable, and it felt like real life, yet not as terrible and as stupid as real people. And like, some of the people just are really dumb, and they're like straight up bigoted, but like, you sort of get some stuff with it. Like, I don't want to spoil it much, but like, bad stuff does happen to these people. Like, on the other hand, like, they just hate races for no reason, and that's the thing. Like, on the other hand, the main character, let's say a little bit about my deep analysis. He's using people, and like, I mean, he helps protect them, but like, he uses people basically, and that's the dilemma. He's using people, yet he's using it against a people which is racist and militant, well-armed, criminal, immoral, etc. I don't want to spoil much else of the film or my analysis, but I'm pretty much going to with this line. The fact is, in the end of the film, we still live in the world we are in now. So, hopefully that's not spoiling too much, but I'm like, if that's the case, then why was what all that guy, the main character, played by Denzel Washington's son, all he did, worth it? Considering that all the terrible stuff he helped, he made his other co-workers do? What are your thoughts? Like, how subscribe if you've seen the film. Try not to keep spoilers in the film. Try to just give reactions to the film. And good luck to you guys in the Oscars. Great film. I didn't think I was gonna watch it because, like, well, Spike Lee. This was like, oh, the Tarantino stuff. Obviously, the N-word, and yeah, it wasn't really kid friendly. That was not what I was expecting from a Spike Lee movie. There's a lot of references to Tarantino, actually, in the film. And there's some interesting history between Tarantino and Spike Lee, which is interesting. And those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Like, comment, subscribe.